Today is Friday, August the 4th, 2023, and welcome to episode 55 of Reliance with Canny Couple. I'm Julia.
And I'm Aaron.
And we are a small homestead family in rural Southwest Virginia that work every single day on being more self-sufficient, more self-reliant, less dependent on outside sources. That goes in with our debt, being debt-free, that debt-free living, being able to source as much food for ourselves, not depending on the grocery stores or outside sources for our food. We were really looking at this on all aspects of our life. And today we want to talk about something it's a bit different in our homesteading world that we see. We want to talk about working full-time jobs that are not homestead related while we're also building a homestead.
Yes.
And it's not just Aaron who's working a full-time job. I also work full-time.
Yep. So this is both of us.
It is. And we're working usually around 45 hours a week, if not more.
Not more. So today this is a great topic because we put in like 10, 11 hours today.
We put in a lot of hours today.
So a little more tired than usual for this segment, which we're going to talk about how we do it.
Now, the reason we're pushing and hustling so hard is because we do want to get debt-free as soon as possible.
Yep.
It's very, very important to our goals, our long-term goals, is to get out of debt as quick as we can. So both of us having an income, that dual income, is really helping to cut our debt down.
Yeah.
Because while we could live off of one income, for us right now, it doesn't make sense because we do want to get the debt paid off as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
We see the writing on the wall with the economy. And having that debt on us just doesn't make sense.
Right. It's something we are, like you've heard us say, aggressively working to get rid of.
Aggressively attacking. Like we are coming at it with, anything we can. It's our main focus. But we are still focused on building our homestead. We're still focused on building our family. And we're still focused on building our side hustles. So we have a lot going on. It's constantly busy. And we always try to make time for, family time. If it's nothing more than 30 minutes to an hour every evening. Sometimes if it's heavy canning day, I might not get that 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But we kind of adjust for that. But we want to give you the tips we have learned that when we apply them to our everyday life, we are our most successful selves on our homestead. So number one.
Time management.
Time management.
It cannot be done running the homestead and working full-time jobs if you're not able to manage your time.
Yes. We don't have flexible jobs. We have to be at our desk at a set time frame.
Yep.
Our timing's not flexible. Our jobs are flexible. We are very fortunate to have the jobs that we have. We absolutely get that. But because of our time constraints, sometimes it might be better for us to work in the morning from 7 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Well, we don't have that opportunity. We have to be on doing our day-to-day jobs. So we have to adjust for that. What we typically do is we sort of try to plan out our week.
Yeah, and one of the best things that we've found about planning out our week, we've tried a few different things. Mm-hmm. The thing that works the best is a calendar on the fridge.
It does. When we do it, we're on top of it.
A magnetic calendar. And we plan out each day what we're trying to accomplish each day. And when we do that, we're more successful than when we don't.
Yes. We know because we could tell when we are successful and when we're not. So we always try, but sometimes life gets away from us. And we don't get that. We didn't do that this week because we were off for 2 days. And
we were doing things.
And we were doing other things, and life just kind of gets away from you sometimes. So we absolutely get it, but we do know time management is important. Aaron is really good with reminders.
Yeah, so I'm using 2 different apps right now for reminders. I use, reminders slash task. So reminders, I use Microsoft To Do.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Used to be Wonderlist.
yes, Wonderlist was
Was
so much
fantastic.
better. Microsoft To Do's, it's okay, but I use that more for um, random task
Daily
or
task.
not daily. Well, non daily task or non-repetitive
Yeah.
ones, or something or something I might need to push out twice a day, for example, to different times. I use that for those type of reminders, which is very good to because so much is going on that if we don't do this, we forget something.
Yeah.
Now for uh, task wise, I've been starting out using I think it's Google Tasks now, but you can do it through Google Calendar as well. And I use this for like podcasts, for publishing on social media. I have weekly reminders come up task wise to do these at certain times, so I make sure I get them out and published on all of the social media we're on, and that's very helpful from that time that for us.
He's testing that out before I start using it to see how well it works, because what we like to do is we would like to have one place to go that's fully integrated, but we do have like daily reminders that Aaron does, like to remember even getting the baby's milk at 6 o'clock, because if we get busy or we're playing really hard, we're likely to forget to give her milk at 6, and we're doing that so she doesn't flood the bed.
Right.
At night.
Yeah. That's the whole
the whole reason why we're kind of splitting her nighttime milk up so we don't flood the bed at night, and she still gets her full sippy cup of milk. But we just use that as a reminder to remember, even to remember to take my medicine in the morning.
Yeah.
Aaron has one just so I don't forget, because I've been very bad about forgetting. I openly admit taking medicine is not the thing I do the best. Remembering to get it filled is not the thing I do the best. It's
Definitely
not my
not.
responsibility. It's his responsibility to get the medicine filled. And he knew that coming into this relationship, that's his responsibility. But having those reminders really keeps us on task. We use it but we also apply it not just to our day-to-day. We apply it to our homestead. We apply it to when we need to pick. We apply it to like pick blueberries. We try to apply it to when we need to weed the garden if we're on a set schedule for that. Anything like that, where if the garden were super weedy and we need to hit it a couple times a week, we would use that. Right now, with the vertical gardening, as heavy as we were hitting it before and as big as our plants are kind of getting right now, we've not had to have that reminder.
Right.
But if we needed it, we would put it into place, and Aaron would just know to cycle through. If we think of like something the night before we need to do the next day.
Yeah, especially like morning time wise, it's like really too late at night or something that might wake the baby up. We're like, okay, I'm setting that first thing in the morning, so as soon as we wake up, we have that task and we remember when we see it.
And we just know to do it immediately. It really works very well for us and keeps us on point for the basic day-to-day things that we can miss because we're human, and that's just what humans do.
Yeah.
I would say probably one of the best things that we do to manage the homestead is we really focus on the homestead in the morning or in the evening. It's when we really try to do the most work that we can. All right, now we're sort of in harvesting season.
So usually evenings is
harvesting. Yeah. That's kind of where we are right now with our homestead. If we had our chickens in the morning, would be time to feed them, water them, same thing in the evening, and check them on their daily schedule when we have them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, most to be able to work a full-time job and do homesteading, you have to work those other hours on the homestead.
You do.
So morning, evening. I know some people might not be a morning person or a late afternoon person, but those times like that, those are the cooler times of the day.
They are.
Anyway.
They are.
So it's better to work those times. From even when you're planning your plants, you plant those in the evening. You don't plant them in the hot part of the day.
We made that mistake.
Yes, a few years early on. And I know people that still make that mistake. You got to give them time to adjust before the hot part of the day.
We also plan our projects on the weekends. That's when we have the most amount of time. So if we know we have to go out, we really try to do it on Friday evenings, because Friday evenings we've already worked. Our day's kind of shot. We have a few things to do on the homestead that evening. So Friday evenings are really, if we need to run somewhere, that's the day we prefer to run. As long as it's not like a full day of running to pick up a lot of supplies that we're getting low on, anything like that, animal food or anything, that would probably be more like a half a day to a day. We try to hit it as early as we can, and we plan those trips out. But we really try to focus on big projects on the weekends. Try to get as much done as possible.
Yeah, it's because it's when we have the most time.
It
It's
is.
when we can, have the strength to put toward it as well in the mental capacity.
Yeah, it's more the mental capacity than the physical strength, because we do work high stress jobs. It's just part of it, and I know everybody else does too. But for us, we just focus better. If you were to ask me to start doing something really complicated, I would get frustrated very quickly. I need my brain to have a bit of a break before we start going into other things. And Aaron does too. I mean, he needs that rest. He needs to be able to rest and recoup before we go into a project that's going to take, a lot more effort.
Right. Yeah, few weekends, that type of thing. And we do try to plan this out, though, when we do, as practical as possible to make it even go quicker. For example, you've heard us might talk in the past about, when we put things together, we try to come up with ideas to make it go quicker. Like for fencing, we use the peak clamps.
Yep.
And,
I spent hours searching for the right thing.
Drill those in right quick, and that speeds up a lot of time for a project. Stuff like that is where we have to think outside the box. That somebody who might have, a whole full days, like 4 or 5 days in a row to do something like that, we have to, come up with ways to shorten it.
Absolutely. Like we took a lot of evenings to go in and tighten up fencing in our chicken coop and run, because it didn't take very long. We have 2 drills.
Yep.
I can drill and Aaron can drill, and we just go through it and get the job done. So it really works out well for us. And this leads into the next one really well, and that is divide and conquer. We do this a lot, and we have we didn't do it as much before Isabel.
Yeah, and I think that's because instead of in the evening, the family time, we would work.
We would work.
So we have lost more time with having her, but we use that time, for all of us. But before we would, both go do like picking berries or something.
Would.
Now it might be, hey, she's picking grapes, I'm picking goji's, something like that.
And that'll probably continue, because as our homestead continues to grow, I'm better at picking grapes.
Yeah.
Aaron's better at getting in behind the blackberry vines and picking that, or picking the blueberries that are on the edge where I'm not going. Like, I'm not going. I don't like to go over there, and if I'm picking them, it's going to be very light, because I'm very scared of heights, and that is a very steep edge. But I'm really good at picking the grapes, because I can go through and get what I need. So it's better to focus on our strengths. I would say when I'm canning, if I'm processing food, Aaron knows he's on baby duty.
Yeah.
Or he's working on other projects. That's what it is. He knows he has to pick a project that he can do and manage Isabel while I'm doing this other project, because he doesn't want to pull me away from this more time intensive and labor intensive project to help with Isabel and whatever else he's doing. So we try to divide and conquer that way as well. And that really works out really well for us. It's really focusing on knowing your strength on the homestead.
It is.
It is.
if we went back to that episode before we'd done, finding what each person's strengths are and playing to them.
Yep.
That really goes into, you know, how to do this.
And how to do it successfully and well.
Right.
Because if we had Aaron doing canning, I mean, he probably could-ish.
It would take a lot longer.
It would take a lot longer, and he would be reading. He would be bothering me the entire time because he would have no clue. Like, now what am I supposed to do here?
Because I didn't read the directions.
Because he didn't read the directions.
Sorry.
So it really just depends. I tend to tackle the food preservation side of our homestead. I tackle the more complicated tasks, I would say. Aaron does more of the things, like he's very interested in like the solar. That's all him. He knows not to pull me into this. That's not my baby rock. He's also going to handle a lot more of the basic tasks when I'm busy with the other things, the things that I know he can do. He might not do it as well as I do it, but he can do it. Okay, so there's a reason I pick certain things and he picks certain things. I'm a heavier picker than he is.
So blueberries, for example,
Yes.
I pick more blue. She picks more red.
Well, they're going to ripen.
Well,
And you're wasting your time. And the birds are going to get them. I'm already there. And it is mostly ready to pick. It's going to ripen. It ain't green. Pick the thing and be done with the job. We had so many bird problems. This was actually one of our worst years for bird problems. And he's still picking them when they're just fully purple. This is where we disagree. This is where Aaron really focuses, is automation. I would say I focus on simplify. Aaron focuses on automation.
Yeah, if there's anything we can do to automate tasks, make them easier,
Faster,
anything like that, so we can get more of the tasks done on the homestead.
One of the best things Aaron did, and this was when I was pregnant, he was really struggling keeping up with a lot of things because I wasn't able to help. I was pretty sick. I just didn't do well. He found a weed eater that has a base like a mower, and that really saved him a lot of time weeding around the trees.
Yep.
And it saves me a lot of time because I can really get really close. When everything's really down, I can get really close to our plants and not hit the plants. And it saves Aaron a whole bunch of time going through and getting right next to the plants when we go through and weed.
Yeah. One last year, for example, is it's sort of automation, was our sprinkler system for the garden. And it was set up to, you just turn it on. And I had one side go this way and one side go that way, and I'd let it water during that time. This year, it's rained.
We haven't needed it.
We haven't had need to hook it up, but that was one thing. Instead of going through and watering each of the plants with a bucket or the water hose, it saved, probably 20-30 minutes, of it doing like the sprinkler for it.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely helped a lot. We just really look for those ways to simplify. And I would say simplify, and it might take more steps to come up with your process for simplifying. But if you end up having fewer steps long term, it might actually be worth it. So I always look at how can I make this process as easy as possible long term, not short term. It might be really complicated at the front end, but it's going to be less complicated on the back end.
Right.
That's what we're always looking at. The next one is dreaming and hoping. This was Aaron's.
Yeah. A lot of times, when we have a long weekend off or something like that, we'll come up with this massive list of things we're hoping to get done. It's a lot of dreams and hopes, that's for sure, because usually there's one big project that doesn't get done because something takes longer than expected. So, a lot of dreaming and hoping that we can get to that point of getting some of these projects done.
And not only that, not just projects, it's sometimes stuff doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You just don't get it done. And that's okay. You're going to have to realize you are human. We are all human. The goal is to do the very best we can. And sometimes you are so stressed. You are so frustrated. I know for me, going out to the garden, it actually reduces my blood pressure. It actually helps. We have noticed that. I can go to the garden, I can work, I can take my blood pressure before, and it's going to be really high. Go to the garden, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
Because that's a really happy place for me to be. I feel good there, working in the garden, and seeing all the food that we're producing just makes me happy because that's food I don't have to buy. That's the frugality part of me. No, I don't have to pay $4 for a watermelon because I got like watermelons coming up and they're getting close to being ready. So I'm real excited. But you have to learn to adjust and pivot when things don't work.
Yes.
What do you do? Okay, well, I can't get to this, but what can I get to in this hour? How can I get something done that's going to move me a step closer today than I was yesterday?
Right. And probably a good example for us on that, it might be like, hey, we can't, even when it's raining, it might be like, oh, we was planning on doing all these projects outside. What can we do inside today? Is there a preservation that we can do? Is there some sort of unpacking to find something we need for the homestead, which has been the case a lot lately? But, something along those lines, that takes that in its place. As you see over there, one of our things fell on the wall.
Sorry about that. I'd also say that kind of leads to the next one. It's going to be a lot of hard work.
It is. It is a lot of hard work.
So not only are you working a job, you're working your homestead. We're trying to build side hustles onto this as well. You have a lot of stuff you are doing. You have a lot of moving pieces and parts. It's not just hard work in general. It's hard work to manage.
It is. And it is very complicated.
It does. It seems like this is our whole world all the time. And we never get a break. And sometimes parts of us suffer. And I would say, even though we do a lot of things together, the thing that probably suffers the most is our relationship as husband and wife. Because we're tired, we're busy, and we're working. We're working towards the same goal. And that's what we try to keep in mind is we're working towards the same goal. We're trying to reach the same dream. And that kind of helps push us forward. And as long as we're on the same page, we can get there.
Right. Yeah, it's you're going to be more tired more days than you're going to be rested and relaxed. That's for sure. Doing it this way because you're constantly going.
Your brain never gets to stop.
Yeah. I mean, it is not something we can sustain for, 20 years.
No.
No. Going this rate. But we're working as hard as we can to get to certain goals quickly.
Yes, that are more sustainable. So that's the goal, to get to a more sustainable level place. Because right now we feel like we're on a hamster wheel and somebody out there is just pushing it.
Yep.
To make it go faster, and we can't keep up. So we're kind of rolling inside the hamster wheel, just trying to keep up with it, and we're getting dizzy. We're getting a bit dizzy at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, that is a lot of hard work because you're basically trying to run a homestead, work, side hustles, us producing, the content creation for the community here,
and trying to be good parents.
And trying
trying to be married.
Yep. So I mean, there's a lot to it, and it is a struggle sometimes.
It is. Wear a lot of hats. You wear a lot of hats. You do a lot of juggling. Sometimes I feel like I can't get any room to breathe. Like I'm drowning all the time. Like I just need a break, and there's no break inside.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately.
Now the next thing, the last thing, and this is where some people might disagree. I would say to learn where to cut corners. You're going to want to work smarter, not harder.
Right.
And it's okay to cheat. If you can. Oh, I consider cheating. Some people might not. I'm probably not going to be considered the best homestead wife. I use a bread machine. I said it. I said I use a bread machine. To me, I take my ingredients, put in the bread machine, let the machine do the work for me. That's time I don't have to spend. That's effort I don't have to expend. I don't have to knead. I don't have to bake. I don't have to watch this dough rise. I don't have to keep a timer going. It takes care of everything for me. Finding ways to make your life a little bit easier in places that are important to you is okay. It is absolutely okay. And we have more than paid for that bread machine because it is several years old. Trust me, it's more than paid for itself.
Yeah, made many loaves.
Many, many loaves. But again, I want to work harder. I mean, not harder. I want to work smarter, not harder. I want to do the best I can with the least amount of effort so I can expend that extra effort somewhere else. That is always the goal. I need to save my effort here to expend it here. Right now, I don't have time to do all the full preservation that we would do for food. So I'm saving what I can until later in the year.
Yep.
We're not as busy.
Yep. So and it worked well when we got out some out of the freezer last year.
It did.
You know,
The tomatoes.
Tomatoes, cranberries, blueberries, you know, those type of things. And you just canned on a weekend then, you know.
When we had more time. When we
Yep.
weren't like trying to keep up with the garden, keep up with the trellising, keep up with all that preservation or other preservation methods that we're trying to do for food that we do have to put up now, like corn or things like that. We're about to get some peaches coming in here in another couple weeks, so I need to make sure I can preserve those when they come in.
Yeah.
Or pears. Those kind of have a finite timeline. I need to get those in jars a little faster than some of these other items.
Right.
I know berries freeze and can super well. We have frozen and canned them a lot, and they work really, really well. I've learned to pre-wash and use my salad spinner to help dry them, and that this year, and that saved us so much time.
Yeah, that there's been a great shortcut, you know.
Amazing. I feel so silly for not noticing, thinking about that before.
I mean, some of these things do require a little research, finding an easier way. You know, it might be some new tool or something that can help with these.
Or you might already have it, not
No.
even realize that you can
Exactly.
use it that way. We've had a salad spinner. I bought Aaron one like 4 years ago for his birthday because he loves salad. I hate trying it. I was like, well, maybe he can get some use out of this. And we've had one since.
Yeah. I mean, there's many things you've got to look into to
Be open.
Yeah.
Be open to changing how you do things, to be creative, to really think outside the box, to make life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
I mean, again, instead of me taking all these blueberries, this is what we did last year. I would wash everything. I laid it out on paper towels. I put it in the freezer. And then after that, when I had time, I would take it out of the freezer and put it into a bag and have to repeat the process again. We still had a lot of loss. This year, we've had very, very little food go bad doing it the way we've been doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's worked out so well for us. I won't go back.
Yeah.
I've actually used the salad spinner more on fruit than I have on salad this year.
Yeah, if this one breaks, we're definitely buying another one.
What do you think is the best thing that we do
To
stay on top of
stay
everything?
on top
Well,
of
to kind of stay on top of everything.
I will say it probably is reminders and tasks, because there's usually, just like we've said before, there's so much going on that our brain's not keeping all of that in, because there's so much happening that we have to have those little reminders to say, hey, just a reminder, today's pick blueberry day. Hey, need to go to the garden and pick zucchini squash, or today we need to water some extra plants, something like that is something that we easily can forget if we're not on top of it. Now, I will say, though, the thing on the fridge, when we can mark off things and look at it from a
It
list
helps.
perspective, we sort of go back to it throughout the day and be like, okay, what else is on it? What else we got to get done? Type of thing. We have used our Remarkable for that as well, like on weekends.
Really long.
Yeah, when we have like too long of a list to put on that calendar, of things we're trying to get done. We do use that. It's sort of like a list thing and go through and check off.
And we try to organize when we're going to hit a lot of things super hard, like crazy hard because we're off for taking vacation, whatever. We do look at like the weather and everything. We really try to plan out what we're doing, when we're doing it, how we're doing it. We do that on our weekly calendar.
Yeah. So we put the weather forecast up there throughout the week. So if we have tasks outside, we do those certain days when it's not supposed to rain.
Laundry. We plan our laundry,
like
when to hang it up outside. If it's going to be raining for 5 days, then we know we're hanging it up inside. It doesn't really matter when we do it.
Exactly.
But we do try to plan it out that way, especially in the winter time for laundry, because it is colder, but you can still hang it up outside. You just got to catch the right day when it's sunny and warm enough. I would say for me, I didn't mention this, but part of that planning is meal prep.
That's true.
It's essential. It is so essential to my ability to do everything I need to do. If I had to spend 20 to 30 to 40 minutes cooking every day,
we couldn't get this stuff done.
I couldn't get this stuff done. I just couldn't. So having that food cooked, because to me, if I'm making oatmeal for the week, that's what we're going to have for breakfast. I can cook a pot of oatmeal one morning and have it ready for the rest of the week. It's not going to take me any longer to cook one pot of oatmeal versus cooking what's going to take me a lot longer to cook 5. I'm going to use more energy. I'm using more effort. All I have to do is cook it, stick it in its containers, put it in the refrigerator, and we're done.
Yeah.
So I would say that even though we didn't mention it earlier, the meal prep for me is key, because without it...
Yeah, I mean, it's a key part of the time management.
For me, it's so key. Now, I might take half of a day to do all of our meal prep, especially right now where we have a lot of produce coming in, a lot of like things we eat raw. I'm having to spend a lot of time cutting that, processing that, or I'm having to stay in the kitchen working on a lot of other projects. It does feel like I spend a lot of time there, like half of a Sunday doing a whole bunch of stuff. And it doesn't seem like I'm doing anything, but I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff. But I would say meal prep, it gives me flexibility during the day.
Yeah.
I'm not jumping off of work to cook dinner.
Yep, because we're eating leftovers. And from a frugality standpoint, it saves money as well.
It does. Because we don't eat cheap. We eat good food. We're eating really good food right now. But we just eat carefully. In the meal prep, we're also not overeating. We're getting just the right amount of food. It's working out really well for us.
Yeah. Any final thoughts that you have today?
That was my final thought.
I will say, it can be done.
It can.
Doing both full-time and homesteading. It is probably not something you can sustain over a long period of time, though.
Okay, so you might be able to, but if you're a parent, that's the added level to where it might not be fully sustainable. It depends on how hard you're going. Are you building side hustles? Our side hustles aren't really homestead related. Our job is not homestead related.
Now, maybe more from 2 people working. It won't be sustainable to run a successful homestead.
Right.
1 now, that's a different story.
So for us, one of the bigger, I'm the primary caregiver and I work, and we have to kind of manage for that because she is still, she is with us even though we're both working, and we're lucky I have that flexibility to take care of her while I'm working, and it works out really well. She's the happiest little baby you've ever seen and has so much fun throughout the entire day. But it is very hard and it is a lot of work. It's a lot of stress, and it's a lot of, again, time management. You need to have snacks ready, you need to have all these things prepped or ready, or you need to have it easily at hand to grab.
Yep. Totally agree. Being prepared.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, if you've got anything you want to hear in a future episode, or any comments, questions, send that over to thecannycouple@yahoo.com. Make sure to go over and check out our linktree/thecannycouple, which has links to all of our other social media sites where you can find other content that we're producing. As this podcast here, you can listen to it on most major platforms. If there's one that out there that you prefer and we're not on it, just send us something and I'll make sure to get us signed up for that one for distribution as well. But this is audio, or you can watch this on YouTube as well if you prefer video more than listening.
And as always, thank you for joining us on Rural Reliance with the Canny Couple, where we work hard, live simple, and enjoy life. Have a wonderful day.